Hello, my name is Daniel Pena, and today we'll be using our goniometer to do 4 measurements. The 4 measurements we'll be performing are trunk lateral flexion, shoulder flexion, knee flexion, and then cervical extension. And this is Santiago, my client. So for the first one, I'm going to have him standing and face the wall. He's going to stabilize his pelvis by standing up nice and straight. We're going to take our goniometer. It's going to be starting at 180 degrees with the stationary arm vertically, and then the axis at the S1 Spineus process, and then the moving arm is going to be focused on the C7 Spineus process. C7 Spineus process at the neck. And so I'm going to have him perform lateral flexion to the right, and then we'll move the moving arm to align with the C7 Spineus process. And then from there, got about 25 degrees of motion, range of motion. So we subtract 155 from 180 and we got that 25 degrees. So as you can see there. Okay, and so for the next one, we'll have them do shoulder flexion. So for this one, we'll have him lay supine on the bench with his arms straight out. As you can see, his palm or his hand is facing down towards the bench. And so for this one, our axis is going to be placed on the humeral head of the humerus, so right up here. And then our stationary arm is going to be stationary with the mid auxiliary line at his chest. And then our moving arm is going to be lined up with the lateral epicondyle of his arm. So as he goes, okay.
What's up, 160?
So for this one, he got about 165. For this one, we're starting off at 0, and we're measuring as far. So he got 165. So that's a little bit higher than the normal range of motion. Usually it's about 160. So he has larger range of motion than normal people in his shoulder. And so for the next one, we'll do knee flexion. So for this one, I'll have him laying prone. You can also do supine, but for this one, we'll do prone. Prone on the bench, and we'll place this pillow underneath his leg. All right, and then I'll have him extend his leg out. And then for this one, we'll be measuring knee flexion. So the axis is going to be at the lateral epicondyle of his femur. And then the stationary arm is going to be aligned with the greater trochanter. And then the moving arm is going to be aligned with the lateral medialis on his ankle. So as he flexes his knee, we'll okay. So for this one, we got about so we started off at 180, and he got about 120, so he got 60 degrees of motion. Okay, and then for the last one, we'll do cervical extension. So for this one, we'll have him seated with back support. It's going to be supporting him at his thoracic and lumbar spine. And then next, we'll place our stationary moving arm at the auxiliary medius, or the ear. And then we'll place the moving arm in line with his nostrils. And so for this one, we're basically starting at 90 degrees. And as he performs a cervical extension where he brings his head back, we'll be measuring at the nostrils, so how far he goes, right about there. So for this one, we started off at 90. So he got all the way to 165. That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. About 75 degrees. So this one, again, he had a large range of motion, larger than normal. I'm not sure if he's just really flexible or what, but he got 65 degrees on this one. Cool, thank you.